Hey everybody, come on in, let's chat. Hey, I've been a Christian. Hi Zed, good to see you. Hi everybody, good to see everybody. So glad to be here with everybody. I'm definitely going to, hey. I am absolutely in love with the Discord that Albino and Brit Tech and Robin, all you are amazing, and everything y'all have done over there is fantastic. So excited to spend time with y'all over there. Um, but yeah, I'm going to be going live every Saturday at 8:30 as long as I can. That is going to be my committed time. So hey, everybody coming in. Good to see everybody. Come on up. Let's chat. Thanks for all the shares and likes. Good to see everybody. Hey, Britt. Good to see you. I was just saying that you guys did such an awesome job on the Discord, and I am so grateful for y'all. And it is truly amazing. We're going to have some good times over there. That is for sure. Hey, everybody coming in. Come on up. Let's chat. I have guest requests open and we can have an awesome talk. I'm open to any discussions. I'm Christian, been Christian for about 18 years now, and I am open to talk. I think that it is a wonderful thing to question and always try to learn the truth. So that's my goal here is just to try to learn the truth with all y'all as best as we can, anyways. That's for sure. Hi, Mary. Good to see you. So excited to see everybody here. Thanks for joining. Um, I mean, I don't know if I was born Christian. My family was atheist. My direct mom and dad growing up, most of my life, I was atheist. So I was definitely taught to question things and all that kind of stuff. I did have people in my extended family that were Christian. So I definitely heard about God, but in my direct household, we were not. And I actually became Christian when I was around 19 years old, and I am 38 now. So almost 38 anyway. So almost 19 years. But that's my story with Christianity. Hey, how are you, Bunny? Good to see you. Yeah, I did. I didn't know you didn't know that, Britt. Yes, my mom was totally like, asked those questions like my grandma for when I would go over there, she knew my grandma would talk to me about God. So I did hear the story, of course, but my mom would be like, ask your grandma, where's the dinosaurs in the Bible? And, tell her to explain all those questions that, we have. Hi, good morning. Good to see you. So, definitely was raised to ask questions. So I think I have that advantage. I never lost that. I think that it is extremely important to ask questions about your faith and about life in general. In my opinion, we live in a world that's full of a bunch of deception. So I think we got to question everything. To be honest, not only religion, but just everything anybody presents us. Thank you so much, Robin. I appreciate all of you. If I miss anything, I'm new to this live thing, so bear with me. But yeah, I definitely, so that's how I grew up. And then when I found God, when I was about 18, 19, I was actually in prison, well, jail, going to alternative prison the first time. And, that is where I got my introduction to actually what Christianity is or God. But in jails and prisons, I feel like they are a lot more open to your questions and to those doubts. Wow. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. That was awesome. You're the best. I love the dino. You got to ask about those dinosaurs, right? You're so awesome. Love you so much, honey. Um, That was amazing. I've never gotten something like that. Making me blush. I love y'all. Thank you, Britt. Y'all are the best, I swear. I love y'all. And I truly want y'all to know that I consider you my friends. I love you genuinely. Yes, albinosaur. Binosaurus. I love it. For sure. I just love like the space that we've made together. And I don't have many, like, I have friends in real life, but they all live far away. So, like, to have this community and, I just love it. I love y'all so much. Thank you. But yeah, I definitely don't know what the heck I was talking about anymore because you definitely distracted me with that cute little dinosaur. Took all my attention away. That is so cute. I thank you so much. Um, but yeah, I don't remember what we were talking about. If anybody in the comments remembers, how do I do that? Okay, let me see. Set up new goal. Okay, thank you for doing that. Y'all are the best. Um, okay, we'll just do one rose. Make it easy, 'cause I don't know how else to do it. Yes, I was in jail, prison many, many times. That was kind of my story in the beginning of my life. I got involved with things really young. I grew up in Chicago, and I got involved with like the gangs in Chicago and all that at a very, very young age. I was only 11, which is insane to think about now. Um, as an older person, thank you. Thank you for hitting my goal again. You're the best. I don't know how to do any of this, you guys. I have no idea. Um, but yes, how do I do this? I don't know. Okay. I like the heart puffs, okay? Let's just do like 5 again. Okay. Okay. I don't know if I need to keep doing this. Does that help the live? I don't know. I don't know anything about the lives. Hey everybody. Yes, oh yes, wild teenager. Thank you for helping me. Yeah, I definitely got into all the things. And my mom actually was a daycare worker in our home. So growing up, I was around, even though I was an only child, growing up, I was around kids constantly. Um, okay, make it like okay. Wow, Sin City made you. I guess so. I don't know. But I definitely was, searching for something. I came from a really good home, but I had a lot of trauma from like adoption. I was adopted. I had trauma from just, like abandonment. Of course, I did not know that at the time, but as I've gotten older, I've realized that that was a lot of why I was so out there as a kid. And like at 11, got involved with, all the drugs, alcohol, addiction, and I fell into a lot of destructive behavior. And I kind of was in that until probably 24, I would say, just destructive pattern after pattern after pattern. And even though I had, found God at 19, it took me a long time to really get myself out of the hole that I had created, I guess. Trying to read. What's not how what works, Phantom? I have guest requests open too, so if y'all want to come up and have a conversation, I am totally open to that. So click the guest request. Let's have a conversation. I'm totally open to any genuine, honest, respectful conversation. Hi, Russell. Good to see you. I don't know if he's here, if you invited him. I don't know how this works. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so when I was growing up, my mom had a daycare. That's where we were at. And so a lot of the times I was kind of left to just like a lot of, 90s kids growing up, go outside, go and play. And that's how I stumbled into all of my friends that were involved in the gangs and everything. And, so that I had a lot of freedom growing up. My mom just kind of was always had responsibilities at the house with lots of kids. And so I didn't have much supervision. And that led me down some really crazy roads. And when I was 14, my mom moved me to the suburbs of Chicago. And there I like kind of I had been really abused by the gang in lots of different ways, from 11 to 14, physically, all those types. Um, And so I had a lot of trauma. I was not understanding what was going on. And so when I moved out to the suburbs, I, kind of got a little better, I guess you would say, but I fell into a lot of like, I started self-harming and I started like really falling into a deeper depression and I wasn't sure why. And that definitely led me. And then I got pregnant at 16 with my eldest daughter. And I had her after 3 weeks of having her. We moved out to Ohio, and that's where I'm at now. When I was 16, when we moved out here, I um, got involved in a lot of worse drugs, unfortunately, a lot more harder drugs, which led me into worse groups of people and like a lot more crime, and that is where my jail story starts. um when I was 18, I got on, I don't want to say the word because we're on TikTok, but it was a very hard substance that starts with an M. I think we can figure it out, hopefully. But I got on that and was on that for about a year and a half, and I was just like out of my mind. I was, did you have a baby at 16? It is a whole like another world to have a baby that young. Like, and then now having kids that are older than that. I'm like, I was such a baby. Lauren, hi honey, good to see you. I have stories for days, girl. I swear I've lived more life than a lot of people do, which is okay. Uh-oh, I got a restriction. I don't know what I did. Maybe it was the M word. I don't know. But we'll see if they kick me off here or not. Whatever. Um, but where are we at? Oh yeah. So I started going down that really bad path and I was like, I might have said the D word. We'll keep it to the D word. I'm horrible with this life. So hopefully it's not saying anything else anymore. It just said like I have a restriction, so I'm not sure. Should I do a restart? Maybe I should. I don't know. I don't know how this stuff works, honest to the Lord. I really don't. Um, I know I said the D word for sure, because I do not know the words that I should not say on here. We'll see. If it seems like we're not getting any more people in or whatever, we will. We do have a guest though. Let me see. Oh, hi. Yes, definitely. Hey,
It's
friend.
so the restart is basically like if you had said anything potentially additional, like restarting would
Mhm.
stop you from getting in trouble. And I think if you like get in trouble, then it's kind of harder for you to be
Oh,
seen next time. So that was kind of the idea that usually I
got
do.
you.
But it's
Should
totally
I
up
do?
to you.
No, no, I don't know. You guys need to help me.
I
I
would come
don't.
back. I think,
Okay.
say in the comments if you would come back to see Kara.
Yeah, yeah. Come back and see me. Hey, Boots. Good to see you.
Sure, and then you can disconnect me. So do you know?
Okay.
Yeah, disconnect me, and that
Okay.
kind of helps too sometimes to draw people in.
Okay. Let's disconnect. Okay. And then I'm going to restart real quick so we don't get in trouble. And I'm going to use my words a little bit more consciously. I will be right back, guys. Okay. Right back. Hi, guys. Thanks for coming back. Love y'all. Thanks for coming back, everybody. Sorry. I know I need to work. Take two, right? Hopefully, we don't got to go to three, but knowing me, who knows? For sure. Let's come on in, everybody. It's so good to see y'all. Okay. Okay. Shall do. Thanks for all the help. Because we know I need a little bit of help. And I'm going to start planning on going live during the week to at least maybe try every other week. Yay! Good to see you, Benny. So happy you're back. But I definitely will try to go live maybe during the week too. We haven't gotten a set day. I have talked to my son's dad about, going out for at least like maybe an hour, hour and a half in the car and do a live during the week there. Hey Zed, thanks for coming back. Thanks for coming back. You're the best. Thanks for all the gifts, you guys. I love y'all. Okay. So then I make the goal. Should I make the goal donuts now, Bree? Britt? Sorry. I don't know if you go by Bree or if you go by Britt. Honestly, we've never discussed this, so let me know. I just have a friend named Bree that I grew up with, so I'm so used to Bree. And then my daughter has a best friend named Bree. But if it's Britt, please, please correct me. It's okay, Zed. I am just happy to have you here. It's so good to see you. But yeah, we will definitely try to start going live maybe in a few weeks, hopefully once a week too. But for sure, I'm committed to the Saturday mornings for y'all. I want to spend time, want to have great conversations. Um, okay. Same. Kara, Kara, Carrie. I get so many names. Like it's like fine, whatever you want to call me. Okay, so where was I? I was about to commit my first crime, I think, in my story, since I guess that's what we're gonna do. I'll share my story with y'all. So I was like I was like, it's this town and these D words that I'm on. That's ruining my life and I need to get out of this town because my mom had moved me, from Chicago to Ohio, and now I felt like it was all Ohio's fault and this stupid town that I lived in. So I worked at I'm gonna really choose my words wisely here because this is a little bit of a story I'm not sure how to tell on TikTok without getting another violation. But come on in, everybody. Just sharing my story, but always welcome to come up and chat. I have my guest box open, so come on up. But I was like, I need to get out of here. And this is at the time that I then met my children's father, my two girls that came after my first one. And I was 18 and he was 26, I believe, 24, 26, one or two. And he was willing to, get out of town with me. We were both very, I don't know what the word is, but out there. And so when I worked at this gas station, I knew that we were in charge of the money. And so if you put two and two together, I was in charge of that money and I kind of ran out. And that was my first time getting in trouble. I went on the run and I went down to Florida it's called Miami, Florida. Or not Miami. It's by Miami called Hollywood, Florida. And I honestly, when I got on the Greyhound to go down there, thought I bought the wrong ticket and they were taking me to Hollywood, California. So I kind of freaked out at first. That was a little funny story. Um, but I went on the run and was down in Hollywood, Florida for about 5 months. But um I did not know about hurricane season and I lived on the beach in in one of the little condos they have and worked on the beach and I made great money but then hurricane season came and then you cannot make any money anymore and so I was freaking out because I knew that I had to go back home and face my crimes. So I went back home and turned myself in. And that was the first time that I went to the J word, because I don't even know if I should be saying that word. Maybe I got in trouble for saying that word. But I went to JAIL. And I I got out fairly quickly and was on probation for quite a long time. The thing is the man that I was with was also had a background, and I was not technically allowed around him, and held that over my head for many years. Um, and so when I went to jail the first time, when I went to the P word the first time, it was because my ex-boyfriend, I guess, at the time, or baby dad at the time, used that against me and sent me there to get away from him. So that's like, I don't want to say too much about that situation just because I have children and I don't want to talk, negatively about their dad, to be quite honest. So I won't go too much in detail about that. But yeah, so I just definitely have had a crazy life, and with that being said, I guess I'll go into like how everything changed for me when I started to really search for God. And I think that, I had God in those situations, and especially the second time that I went to the P word. I was there for almost a year, and I really, really just tried to use that time wisely, which a lot of people don't. And I wanted to better myself. And I wanted, so I got into lots of groups and really dive deep into learning about God. And, since I knew that my decisions and what I was doing in my life was not working, that there had to be a different way, and I needed to find it because everything that I'd been doing in my life up till then, and at this point, I was 22 the last time I went to the P word. So I was about 22 when all this happened. And I I really like leaned into God because I felt like that was, the true the true thing that was going to change me from the inside out. And I could tell I was changing. I could tell that I did not want the same life. I didn't want it for my children. I didn't want it for myself or my loved ones. And so for me, I found that peace and that motivation and the healing that I needed in God. And I couldn't find that anywhere else. And, so that was just really just a quick little snippet of my story. Um, I do totally agree with you, gaming. I think that it is really hard to try to put God in our logical mind in a tangible way, only because he is, in my opinion, a spiritual being. So a lot of the evidence of God is going to come spiritually. And that's what I found for me is that when God started to change me internally, spiritually, and I started to lean in more to him and was able to start hearing his answers in whatever ways they came, and those small voices in your head, and it's not like I'm hearing voices, a different voice. It was always like my voice, I guess. But like I learned how to discern what was my thoughts and what was coming from the Lord. And so when I was able to start doing that, that's when I started to see real change in my life. And then that spiritual change then made outward change. But I do, so you say science cannot measure anything. I really don't think that that's true. I think that if you look into especially quantum physics, man, I think that God is all outlined with the all like within the fabric of our world and our universe. Like I really feel like God is all intertwined in that. I mean, God, if you believe in God, then you believe that God made science and everything else that we like, find out with science was ultimately there and created by God. So we cannot say that we can't find God in science. I think it's just our perspective and the way we look at science on if we're going to find God or not. Now, some science, I'm going to say. makes it hard to believe in God, and I understand that. Um, but I also think that if we keep looking, we can find those answers. Not that I have found all of them. I'm still searching for a lot of those answers too. And ever since I found, atheist lives, definitely made me question some more things that I just never saw. And that's what the perspective is. I think we can have a perspective our whole life and hold on to it so hard and think that that's reality when if we, hi, good to see you. I'm so happy to have everybody in here. But hey, honey, my daughter is in here. She's Jordan. She's probably be like, don't call me out, mother. Hi, honey, good to see you. Hey, Seven, we'll let you up. Hi. You're connecting. Yes, she is the daughter. I can't hear you, Seven. Are you on?
I'm here. Yeah. How are you
There
doing?
you are. Hey, I'm good. How are you? Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, right. It is afternoon for you.
um, how are things going? You're doing really great. Well done.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. It's going good. I'm just happy to be here. I know that, like, I'm excited to just be doing this more often. I always say that I'm going to, but like my daughter will tell you, my life can get pretty crazy, but I'm gonna be committed because I love spending time with everybody, and these conversations are awesome.
So the thing is that I'm an
Yes.
atheist and you're a Christian,
Mhm.
so we have to have a massive fight now.
Oh my gosh, you're right. But
Yeah.
but like, I'm not going to be one of those like obnoxious Christians, okay? Like, I can't play that role. I can't do it. I might have to
well,
drop you if you get too testy.
well, I am going to be an obnoxious atheist, though. That's
I
you
wouldn't
just have to
expect.
take that for granted.
Oh, well, I wouldn't expect any different. Yes.
I think this is really interesting because all of the Christians and the atheists in the chat, me and Kara have known each other for a few months, and I know
Hmm.
Kara, I'm not the only one in chat that has known Kara for
Of
a good few
course,
months
right.
as well. Um, and
Love you all.
it's we like we're trying to kind of have these conversations where obviously it these conversations do get quite heated, and that's understandable, I think, a lot of the time. And a lot of people kind of enjoy them, and
Mm.
we're trying to create some I say we, I mean, Kara's the one that's
No,
doing
no.
it, but I'm trying to
We
support.
we can't do
Yeah,
this
well,
without y'all. So stop.
I'm trying to support these spaces where which prioritize actual conversations. So
Right.
actually trying to and conversations is kind of a broad term, but what I'm talking about there is actually attempting to understand another
Stop,
person's
Roxy.
perspective.
Right.
So, like, genuinely, I find it really difficult to understand the perspective of a theist, right? Christian or
Hmm.
otherwise, right? I just don't get it. But I do find it also fascinating. And I think that the attempt is really important.
Yes. Agreed. And I think that these conversations for all of us are really important. I think that views and our beliefs, are of course going to be personal. We are all on our own journey. We've all had different experiences. And I think that there's nothing but, something to gain when you can have those nice, honest conversations without the screaming and yelling. Because honestly, who's listening at that point?
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, I think it's very difficult to change your mind about something, and that's
Mm.
the whole point of conversations with somebody. I think, and a lot of somebody who has a profoundly different perspective to yours. It is about changing minds, and I often challenge
Hmm.
people in comments. When they're being very abrasive and really sarcastic and personal and so on. And I asked them genuinely, why are you here? And this
Mm.
to be, I'm here to tell the truth. So what's the point of telling the truth? So, to change people's minds. And I say, well, do you think that you're changing people's minds right now? And
Mm.
that's usually when they
Hmm.
stop commenting.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen you do that quite a few times. And that's true. And that's where I think, where even as a Christian, where we struggle in the Christian community is that is what we get. We get that like straight hard wall almost with people that like they're like so stuck that they cannot even like let you in or through or even have like a genuine conversation. It's almost like they're on autopilot. Do you know what I mean?
100%. And the problem is that it becomes just othering at that point. So somebody gets put
Mm,
into a category. So it's like, okay, what are you? And then you say what category of belief you hold, and automatically you're already down a bad path, because when people are making
right.
assumptions about you without actually trying to understand your perspectives. I mean, there's I got to tell you. I mean, is stuff that you would say which I would disagree with profoundly. I would have all kinds of issues with, and we could talk about that stuff all day long. But
Hmm.
until you are actually making that attempt to actually show that you are interested in the reasons that the other person that hold their belief, there's just no point in having a conversation.
Exactly. Exactly. Which I know in these kind of like live areas, especially in the chats, and of course not Daniel's, but in a lot of other spaces, I feel like there just isn't conversation going. It's just like a bunch of insults after insults on both ends. And it's just like, where is any kind of, you know, actual conversation that's going to lead to anything good happening in some of these lives? And I'm not like dogging on any of them at all. Like, I think that I can learn and find value in all of the lives that I've been in, but I do not know if the people that are talking are finding any value, if you get my drift.
Definitely. And the problem also is that the algorithms very much reward antagonistic discussions. So when people are getting quite heated and shouty and things like that, and therefore that is what people are becoming presented with more and more. And I'll be honest with you, totally, I put my hands way up there, and I can feel that I get a little adrenaline hit when I see
Mm,
somebody getting, and I'm going to use the word here in inverted commas, cooked on
okay.
subjects and things like that, and I feel
Yes.
some kind of righteous reward going on inside. And
Yes.
there is literally a hit that you are getting that you can get addicted to. And the problem
Hmm.
is that people are no longer seeing these good conversations being modeled anymore. And that is really terrifying to me. That the fact that we may have an entire generation
Mm,
where you were talking about this yesterday. I think was it you, or was it somebody else I was talking to?
who
Especially in
knows?
America, where you have debates in school, and you
Mm.
are rewarded with points, and you have a winner and a loser of those debates. And I think that's, in itself, that's fine, but you don't have something outside of that which kind of counterbalances it with the trying to understand another person's perspective.
Oh, yeah. I was not there for that conversation, but I can attest to that. I remember being in school, especially even at a young age, where we would do like even essays on presenting our point. So, like, we would have a subject, and then you would have to pick what side you were on and then present why you felt like that side was right. And that is exactly like you were just trying to prove your point and be right instead of having like a genuine conversation where we can find some, common truth, possibly, for sure.
Do you know what we need? What do they call that? They call it like debate camp or something like that. Is that what it is in the States? It's like
What did you say?
debate class. They call it like debate camp or debate class or something like
Debate
that.
101.
debate 101. Well, maybe what
Debate
we
one.
need is a debate club. Thanks, disgraceful.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's right.
Maybe what we need is empathy club, where where like the person who gives the most empathy wins. Is
Right.
like you
The
can.
one that cries the most tears. Catch your tears and see. I would
Yeah,
definitely
exactly.
win that one. I win. No, I'm just kidding.
You can literally have like the amount of tears kind of measured. So the number of
Right.
milliliters gives you a certain number of points, and you know
Thank you. Oh, they gave
when
it
you
to you,
show
but
so
thank
much
you.
compassion in somebody else's position
Right.
and your understanding of them, and like you're being awarded points, and you can
Yes.
literally cook somebody with emotion. It's like
That would be
that's
awesome.
what we
I
need.
would, yes, that would be awesome. We would definitely learn some emotional maturity, I feel like, in that class. That's for sure. Oh my gosh. I am an advocate on like why don't we have classes in school that teach like common like sense maybe or not even common
Mm.
sense but just like common courtesy, common senses, common everything. Like I feel like we don't teach that at all anymore. And I think it's showing in the generations here in America anyways, unfortunately. My daughter actually worked at a camp for many years as a teenager as a counselor and would like stay there and live there for the summer. And she would just come home with stories. She would work with one group was like 7 and 8 year olds, and then or 7 to 9 or 10, and then the next group was like preteens. And she said the sheer amount of disrespect that those kids have is crazy. So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they're definitely not learning it at home either, unfortunately. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
and that's scary, when you have an entire generation kind of growing up like that,
Hmm.
and it all seems to be going in the one direction. Anyway, I just said I'd pop up here.
Yes.
I,
Oh,
and like I think
you're
this
good.
is what I'm gonna say next is gonna hopefully you see it the right way. But I like you and I think that there is so much that we would disagree on, like just so much. But
Probably.
I want to just say thank you so much for being somebody who is kind of fighting that tide and just trying to nudge the needle in the other direction. And I know that it's been an influence on me coming from completely the opposite side of things. And I hope that, the people who are coming in and out of chat are kind of seeing this, and, they hopefully see it as they think about it the next time they're making a comment or the next time they're interacting with somebody with a
Right.
different perspective. Just to, try out a different approach and, have a slightly different conversation. There's plenty of places in the internet where
Hmm.
which we can leave them to their debates and
Right.
controversy and
We can duke it out.
antagonism, and
Yes.
let's just create a couple of spaces which aren't like that.
Yeah,
So
I
yes,
agree.
thank you
Well,
for that.
thank you. Thank you so much, Seven. It was so good to see you. And I feel the same about y'all. I really, I'm so grateful for being able to just come in and be welcomed and all that kind of stuff. So, I really love what we're building. And I think we're only expanding, right, guys? I really feel like we're just expanding all of this. And it's just going to be a great movement on TikTok.
I agree. I just
Yes.
popped up to do one quick thing, a little commercial
Okay.
break. So you need to reset your gift goal to something,
Okay.
probably like 2 donuts or 3 donuts.
Alrighty.
And
Thank you,
then
dear.
everybody who is here having a good time listening to what we're trying to build and trying to bridge the gap here. If you like this conversation, please keep tapping your screens. If you want to join her fan club, it is only 1 coin. You do that by interacting with that heart up by top of her name. If you are not following the host, please make sure you are following her. Kara is a lovely, wonderful human, and just wanted to get up and make sure that everybody is showing her appreciation. So you can go ahead and disconnect me. That'll kind of help with the algorithm. And I hope you guys have a good day.
Oh, thanks so much. Love you, friend.
Love you.
Hey,
Hey, so
disgraceful.
hey. And forgive me. I've got an
Yes,
Australian accent, so I don't know. Should I be saying Carl or Kara or something else?
it is Kara, but you can say
Kara.
whatever you want, and I love your accent.
Thanks, mate. I don't
Yeah,
mind it, but it does mess up the pronunciation with some people's names, and I'd hate to get it wrong.
you're
I'm not
fine.
gonna lie, I'm a little bit late to the party here. I know that you've been doing some good stuff and I've heard everybody talk about it. I get so overwhelmed with all of the notifications from TikTok and Discourse and everything else. So I haven't been able to keep up, but I can tell that from what Seven is saying and all the support that you're getting, that it must be a great space. And obviously it's all, as I agree with Seven, always good to have places where you can have good civil discourse, get passionate about it, bring up some good points, but always, just keep it civil, keep it respectful. I think that's the biggest thing. But help me
Yes.
understand what like kinds of topics you want to be talking about up here, what kind of perspective you want to bring to it all.
So, thanks for asking. I'm so glad to have you here. And yeah, I'm definitely trying to, like Daniel, expand, but kind of like on the other side, this is from like my Christian point of view, but I am totally open to really all conversations. Um, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Y'all are the best, I swear. I love y'all so much. Couldn't do this without any of your support and all my friends that have just really helped me grow this community and are on my side. I really truly appreciate all of you. Even, the people who disagree with me and can't have a civil conversation. You're okay too. I'm just kidding. But I love everybody. And I do, I guess like in my life, I've always been that friend that like everybody's come to. I'm very non-judgmental. You really can't tell me something where I'm gonna be like, oh my gosh, how could you? Like I've never been that kind of person. So I feel like that's like where I kind of want to expand on here too, is just like be open. We can have conversations about whatever. Of course, I am Christian and I'm open to debates and, all those kind of, awesome conversations, but I'm open to all conversations, to be honest.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Good to know. Thank you.
Yeah,
Just,
yeah.
I think it sounds like it's one of those things you just kind of want to naturally see what comes up.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And just, I think that showing love is where our world is going to change, in my opinion. Like, there can never be too much love shown to people. Understand that we all have gone through things and to just kind of show people grace, like, hey, disgraceful, to show you some
Yeah. Oh
grace,
gosh. Yeah,
So,
but it's funny
yeah.
though when you say that, and that's I guess an
Mhm.
interesting little tidbit. Um, I do, and I know you will have heard this, right? There are from a lot of different perspectives. Everyone has their own definition of love, right? There are so
Mm,
many different kinds of love, but there are also lots of different ways of showing love and lots of different kinds of love. People sometimes think that, you know, I know that there are people that think conversion therapy is love, right? And I completely
mm,
disagree. How
mm,
I would suggest that what we need rather than love is kindness,
mm.
is because that's kind of, I mean, it's a
Right.
little bit harder to, I mean, obviously there are lots of people that will still think they're being kind by doing things that I do not think are kind. There's always going to be your own
True.
personal definition, right? But I feel
Right.
like kindness is a little bit harder to
Mm-hmm.
misconstrue.
Yes, that's good. And understanding, kindness and
Yeah.
understanding, that I think is the
Compassion.
biggest thing. Yes, compassion to show
Okay.
people that, thank you for all the taps. Y'all are awesome. I swear. I know that last time I was like, my daughter was like, did you see all the likes you got? I'm like, I know, they're awesome. But yeah, I think you're right, because, and I think that too, like for me growing up, I don't think that, or maybe I just didn't notice, but people use words a lot more freely than they do now. I feel like we definitely, as a society and as like people, because we have more education, I think more tools to get, answers like the phone and stuff, that definitions and wording have become a lot more important in society. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm the
Yeah,
only
yeah.
one, but
No,
yeah,
no, no,
I
no. You're right.
Yeah, I feel like when I grew up, like people were like, like it's fine if you meant something different. Like that's in America. I didn't grow up in Australia, of course. Are you always been in Australia? Have you ever lived anywhere
Yeah.
else?
No, not overseas, no, but I've moved around the country a fair bit. I think though,
Nice.
it's interesting though. It's funny because I don't know if it's necessarily that we're more free with our words, but I think it might be a little bit more that people are speaking up when it has a negative impact. For example,
Hmm.
when I was younger, I grew up in the time when, saying something was gay was an insult, and that obviously like wasn't okay, but it was what we all said at the time, and then eventually we all heard more from people who it impacted, myself turns out to be as well, that how negative that is, and we learnt and we spoke up about it and we said, hey, that's not okay. And so
Hmm.
rather than necessarily just being free about it, it's that we're figuring out that those words have impact, and we have a whole dictionary worth of words.
Right.
Why not choose a better one that actually means
Hmm.
what you actually want to say, not just,
Right.
kind of offhand saying something that might have a negative impact?
Yeah, I agree. And I really feel like I have honestly came more to feeling like that since I've gotten in these lives and everything. And like when you're having those deep conversations with people, the way you're using those words is important. So we can be on the same level, understand what we're talking about and where we're coming from. I really feel like, I'm getting better at it. I'm horrible with English, but I'm getting better. I'm getting better to, learn and use my words more deliberately instead of more willy-nilly. Because I'm very ADHD, so my brain is like all over the place. So, like, where's that thingy at? Is
Yeah, me
definitely
too.
thanks,
I totally
Russell.
get it. Yeah, yeah.
So,
No,
right.
I do the same thing, but I think one thing a friend of mine once said, that the most important thing is that we give each other the grace to get it wrong and to learn.
Mhm.
Because
Yes.
I make all the same mistakes. Like, we're all human. I completely use the wrong word sometimes.
Hmm.
I just offhand say something, and that's not at all what I meant. But
Right.
the people that matter are the people that don't jump on me for using the wrong word one time and give me a second to get it wrong and to say, oh, hang on, that was a mistake. Let me try again, and give me the space to get it right the next time. And they're the kind ones. So
Yes.
trying to do
Yeah.
that.
Right. Yeah. Give us room to grow. Teach me and then let me learn. That's
Yeah.
definitely, and I think that that is where our community, I absolutely love how open we are to, even criticism or whatever, but in that, kind, compassionate way. And I just really, that has really warmed my heart that there's other people out there. Because honestly, I don't know if it's where I'm from or what I'm like in a more it's not like super rural, but I'm Ohio, and we are definitely more on the, conservative side. And, I just see a lot of, closed-mindedness. If you like approach somebody with something that they may not agree with or like it's like jumping down your throat is like kind of how
Mm.
they communicate out here, which I grew up in Chicago, and I feel like people are even honestly like kind of when I was growing up, they're more dismissive. And I don't know if that's because that was like a more, liberal kind of area that I was on, and people weren't as, jump down your throaty, but also they didn't really care either at the same time, where I feel like people out here are like care too much. You know what I'm saying?
No, I do. I do know what you mean. No, I love
Mhm.
it. And anyway, I've been up here way too long. Gary's been waiting, so I'll
No,
drop
stop.
down. But good to chat. I'll talk to you
Yes,
again.
same. You have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Bye. Hey Gary, how you doing? Good to see you again.
Nice to see you again. Hold on one second. Let me adjust my mic.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for everybody being here and all the gifts and all the taps and all the love. I truly appreciate everybody. It's so good to have y'all here.
Yeah, you guys were, I think it was a gentleman before me. I just caught a little bit of what you guys were talking
Hmm.
about, but it sounded like the different lives and everything where people get to arguing and all that. And
Yeah.
I really feel the extremist on either side of the aisle is actually causing uh, more harm
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
good with
Hmm.
the debating, because the youth see the adults as the examples. They
Mm.
follow suit. They're turning debates into a sport, and therefore they end up wanting to mirror that. And I think that's where I think our society is having troublesome, with
Mm.
the compassion, the love, and all that.
Isn't
And
that true?
uh, I mean, you got the one side that, oh, if God's evil, why did He create this? And it's like, why are you walking through the door on a daily basis just to belittle somebody, hurt someone's feelings, just to try to
Right.
prove a point instead of
That's
letting
why
someone be?
I agree. And that's why I'm not sure if you're connected with our like community, but there is an atheist on atheist agnostic. I don't want to label him because I'm not entirely sure his exact, title, but Daniel, if you have not been on one of his lives, I don't know if you happen to pop in on one
Yeah,
of those,
I
but
love
yeah.
Daniel.
Yes, yeah, that's kind of where I found all my friends here, and was Daniel's live, and that is what kind of inspired me to get up here and do it too. Was like, because there aren't a lot of spaces where we can really have those conversations in a calm, respectful manner without it getting like so jumped down your throat. And you're right, like, how can we be examples to the younger if we can't even have conversations about things that we don't agree with in a respectful manner? I agree.
Yeah, Daniel, he's ex-Christian and has turned full atheist. But I've got
Hmm.
and chatted with him a couple times, listened to him, and he's just very respectful tone. The mannerism is there,
Thank
and I'm
you.
perfectly fine with having conversations like that. But
Yes.
it's the debate side, the prove my point kind of deal. And
Right,
it's just
right.
it's rhetoric. Prove God
Yes.
exists and prove God don't exist. It's like you're asking for the impossible, you
I do
know.
agree. Right, right. Yeah. I don't think like either side, like, and I think that's where, agreeing that like, hey, either side of this can't really say a definitive 100%. And then that's where we can start to have those conversations and try to find that truth together, regardless, because, that's like my main thing. I'm Christian. I believe in God, but I also believe that humans have had a lot of years to get their hands in everything and corrupt everything, use it for manipulation, power, gain. So I also have that view as well, is that, I do have God, but I also have, blah, 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 that knowledge that we are still lied to in a lot of ways. So
Oh
that's where
yeah,
I'm open to
there's
learn the truth.
in fact there's a gentleman who was reading like older transcript or scripture and comparing it to a new, and in there I can't remember what verse it was, but it said in the older one it said children of God, and in the
Mm.
newer one in the same verse it said children of Israel.
Oh.
And I said, does that not raise a flag? Because that to me, if it
Hmm.
was put in political, if it was put in historical, whatever, any other text, that would be a clear indication of direct, purposeful manipulation.
Yeah. Yeah. And I,
Intentional.
yeah, and I definitely like, I believe the Bible, but I also believe that man wrote it and that we've, like you said, the translations, the everything, it has been corrupted for a specific reason, or whether that be gain of control of people. It just depends on where we're at in the timeline of history on how people use it. But that is definitely, a concern of mine, especially since I've found, the atheist chat, Christian churches are not, transparent. I would say about all of the contradictions in the translations. They are not honest about how, things have come about, like the translations and books in the Bible and
Right.
stuff like that. So, I do, but I do think. with that all being said, that God can still speak to us and do whatever he needs to do through all of that lies and deception. So
Oh
that's
yeah,
my
every
belief.
day. In fact,
Hmm.
I'm a big. My favorite that I actually feel closest and feel that sense of self, I guess, empowerment or whatever
Hmm.
growth is
Yes.
through testimony.
Mm.
And I mean, and I'm talking about a true, you can see the heart, you can see the soul, something that really has impacted somebody and how they got
Hmm.
through it or whatever it may be. And of course, people, that's just testimony. Well, realistically, science is just testimony too
Hmm.
until you personally put
Test it out.
the, the tools to it. You're
Hmm.
taking someone else's experience, someone else's whatever, through a text and projecting it.
Yeah, I
And
guess so, huh?
yeah, I mean, until you put the tape measure, to the item or whatever, the scale to measure it, it's really just a testimony. But
Yeah,
however, it's what we choose to find valuable, that we can apply
true.
to our lives.
Very true. I agree. I do want to say hi to our other friends,
Yeah.
Britt and Silas. How you doing?
I just got up, sorry, real quick again, because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
had seen a comment. I think
Hmm.
Huggy is going to be busy, so she had reminded you to designate other mod powers.
Okay, okay.
All
Let's see.
right.
Who shall I? Are you gonna be here for a minute? Can I mod you up?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can take care of that. And then I don't know if Seven is here. I'm sure
Okay. How
Silas
the
would love to
heck do
help.
I do mods again? Do I
I
gotta
don't
click the
know.
name? Click your name?
I know it's in like your options, like in the board somewhere, and I always have a hard
Okay.
time figuring it out.
I
But
know
while
Daniel was
you
on
do
here
that,
last time. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
can go ahead and do another ad break, I guess.
Okay, thanks.
So, everybody who is here, we are trying to build this community of, people who can come together. Like personally, I'm probably in the agnostic category at this point. I'm deconstructing. We got, people in here who are Christians. We got people in here who are strict atheists. This is a space for us all to come together and ask questions and but be respectful. So I really appreciate that everybody who is here is being respectful and adding to the conversation. If you like this, go ahead and tap those screens. If you think Kara's doing a great job, don't forget to be in her fan club, which you just push that little heart up top. Make sure you're following and tapping your screens. We got lots of people in here. We could get those likes up pretty quickly. And she's got a gift
Thank you.
goal. The gift goal is only 2 donuts. Pretty easy to get that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, I think I modded you up. I don't see Seven. He didn't pop up. And Silas, I did mod you just in case.
Perfect. You can pat me down whenever you're ready.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
I am here. I'm just doing other things.
No,
And
you're good. How you doing
absolutely,
this
Discord is
morning?
phenomenal. I'm
Yes,
doing
I
great.
love it. I am like so happy with what they all did over there. And I'm looking forward to like everything. I love that we can all stay connected because I miss you guys when we're not in the chats together.
It's phenomenal. Yes, so
Hmm.
highly recommend that, Gary. I also would encourage you to go look into Dead Sea Scrolls. You'll go down quite the interesting rabbit hole on
Mm.
translations and shifts and different things.
Yes, I'm definitely getting into like the older translations and looking more into that because I did know some of it, but I did not realize how many different translations there were and how those translations came about, I think is another really big, excuse me, thing that I'm, really interested into now because I think that has context to it as well.
And I was reading something that, and I could be butchering this, but Paul had a couple of. There was a woman that went on a mission. She found multiple texts throughout the Bible that basically willfully manipulated words in order to give man empowerment over women, based on the
Mm.
translations from what the word actually meant back in the Greek times. So it they kind of picked and choose, is what she was saying. To I wish I could remember the woman's name. I just read it today, but they picked and choose how that word got displayed in the text, and
Mm,
changed the word. The word, I think one of them was like veil, and
thank you.
um, for man it was like power, or I can't remember the other word they used. But the point is, she went after this, and even to the point that I guess Paul had a couple women that worked for, or that was supposedly working alongside him, and even changed them into men, just
Mm.
because that would, because of the imagery that would have provided.
Oh, wow.
Like I
I
said, I
also,
don't know the truth of that, but I just know that this woman,
mhm.
evidently, from what I read, was committed, and this was years ago, into getting the scriptures corrected based on what she had to present.
Wow. And I also feel like too, like back in the day before the internet, the only people that really learned about all of these translations and all that kind of stuff were the pastors and the people who went to actual, Christian or Bible college. And, us regular people did not learn, I don't think, about all of the background of translations and all that kind of stuff. Like, unless you were really into reading books and all that kind of stuff, like this day and age that we live in gives like average people the access to, more translations, being able to translate those with Google Translate. And I think that is where a lot of, the deception and all that kind of stuff is coming out, which then of course will lead people to, even question it more and not believe. And of course, the way that science is pushed in the world, which I don't find anything wrong with science, but I do believe that there's a lot of corruption in science, just like there is in religion and anything else. So as we, get access to science and we get access to, I've spent so many hours listening to, I can't speak their language, but I can track like, really intelligent scientists and quantum physics. And I think we have access to so much more knowledge in this day and age than past to even, start to find the truth, I guess, is kind of like how I feel too.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think
Hmm.
there's a happy medium that really, I kind of get to the medium on everything, whether it be my politics, my shopping, all that
This
stuff. It's
person said flat earth or anti-vax. So Um, anti-vax, no, I'm not anti-vax, but I didn't personally, but I'm like a person who I don't do like the flu shot. It makes me sick. So like when the COVID shot, or I don't even know if I can say that word, crap, when the vid shot came out, I was like, that's just gonna get me sick like the flu. So I mean, that's what I feel. All my children are vaxxed, so I think that they're good. Flat Earth. Not necessarily a flat earther, but like I said, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know because I've looked into NASA and they're about as corrupt as they get. And I know a lot of people are gonna be like, oh my God, but I'm serious. Like, do some hard research on NASA and I'm gonna say like 95% sure that you'll see the corruption too, to be honest. You just gotta look, you just gotta do the digging, you just gotta be open-minded to be wrong, That's just kind of how I feel. I don't know, I don't really think like that the earth is flat or round in the necessarily sense that they tell us. Okay, so I'll say my perspective, and it could be like in sci-fi land, okay? But in my opinion, is we are like on a globe necessarily, but we're like in the middle on a flat. So like we have the globe, but like we're here instead of around. It's kind of what I feel, but like that's just my own brain. So don't clock me, please. I'm just spitting nonsense at this point. But that's like literally what I really feel like through the research and stuff. And I just don't understand. And this is how I've always felt since I was a little kid, to be honest, is I'm like, how in the world are the people on the bottom of the globe or the people like on the bottom sides, like how they hanging on? Like how you Australian people hanging out? I'm just wondering how we hanging on down there. Um, so like that is like the main thing is I always kind of question that. I'm like, how in the world does that work? Like I know gravity or whatever, but I mean, but I just like to, go down those rabbit holes. I like to think outside the box because I think it's fun. But as far as if it's flat or if it's round, I think it's both. How about that? Oh my gosh. You're right. I know. I should have been born in like the 70s, I swear. But yeah, that's how I feel. How do you feel? Anybody else? Are we flat earthers? Or are we globers? Are we bothers? I'm a round, you're a round earther. But are you a round earther on the outside or on the inside? That is the question.
Concave.
Sorry. Right? I'm just being I'm just being goofy at this point, but I'm literally serious. That's what I really do think. I think we're in the middle for real.
So actually, that's another thing that goes back to the text, because from what I understand, the old flat Earth deal come from the Bible. But if you think about the time that all this was written, I do believe that we are, a globe.
Do
I
ya?
mean,
Where in the
yeah.
globe? On the outside?
Well, I mean that we are round. The other planets,
We
they're
are
easier. They are round. In fact, the photo that was back in 1972 that was taken, that was being a photographer.
Who was
That
it taken by
that's
though? Who
I
was
can't remember. I can look it up. I can look it up.
Just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I don't know all the
I'm getting
photographers,
conspiracy theory around here.
but the photographer, it was taken with not a digital camera. It was a roll of film. So
Hmm.
graphics couldn't been applied to it. It was put out there. In fact, they captured a hurricane that I think 4 days later, after the photo was taken, did actually does have a documentation of causing destruction before landfall. And so it's something that they would have had, because there was thousands of pictures taken. You would have had thousands of paintings predicted of that weather
Yes.
pattern and everything
Right.
that would
Yeah.
show
Yeah.
the
I
globe.
definitely, I kid. I kid. I definitely like know we're around. I'm not an idiot.
Right. But
But
on the
yeah.
flip side of it, though,
Yeah.
is you think about the people that were writing the text back in the time. They were doing the best that they had, because they didn't have the knowledge and the tools and things that had been applied. To them, it was being flat. As far
Right.
as I can see,
Right.
it's flat. So
Right.
to try to make sense of their surroundings and with God, I could see that being you know, a respectful misunderstanding of the
Right.
time.
Yes, yeah, agreed, right? Brett, yes, us in the Middle Earth here, we have different perspectives. Uh, but yeah, I definitely like, I mean, even when you look at like the Egyptians, they knew about our solar system and all of that. They had hieroglyphics depicting, all the planets and the solar system and stuff. So I mean, people back then had to have some kind of technology that knew, what the planets look like and all that kind of stuff too. So, I mean, there
It's
is
impressive.
that.
Did you ever see the light bulb hieroglyphic?
I didn't know.
Yeah, if you type that in, there's an item in there that looks like a light bulb that's kind of lighting up
I'll have
from
to
a
look. Have
hieroglyphic.
you seen? So, if you want to go down conspiracies, I can talk for conspiracies all day long. As like one of my hyper fixations since 2012. But there is a depiction on a temple in Mexico or down South America somewhere. I believe it's Mexico, built in the 1500s, and it's like beautiful. It has engravings and carvings all throughout the whole temple, and on it are many different like little pictures of things that were carved in, and one looks like a straight up astronaut. One looks like some kind of like cell phone or like like a laptop of some sort that they're holding and doing something. Now, some people say that could be like a mirror makeup, which true, but the astronaut one is really convincing. If you type that in, astronaut on old 1500s temple, and I believe it's Mexico. It's crazy. Brazil, maybe Brazil. I know it's down South America somewhere, on one of their temples, but that was really cool. I am a firm believer, and I believe this also goes along with the Bible, but I'm a firm believer that like other societies and old, people in the past had way more like technology or some kind of, you know, something that we are not aware of. Like, I definitely feel like, the pyramids and some of our buildings that are placed throughout our world were like antennas for electricity and all types of different things. So I think that a lot of that technology was lost, but I believe that. That cycle of technology, that we're given and then lost, et cetera, would be like something like the knowledge like from the tree of good and evil, the knowledge that like the fallen angels brought down. I feel like that would be that would be what that is. So that's kind of like my view on that.
Okay, so I got it right here.
Okay.
It
Yes, thank you for all the
says
likes.
it says the astronaut picture in the social media post is sculpted into
Oh,
uh,
really?
the, the gate of the new cathedral. Why did it just skip on me? My website just skipped on
Also,
me.
they
Cathedral
said that
was
it's it
built in.
they looked it up and it's apparently a modern additoid, so like somebody added it. Do
Yeah,
you know when they added it?
1992. It says
Okay.
it explains on the cathedral website, Spanish national media and
Come
other
on
culture
up.
and tourism websites that astronaut was at in 1992 as part of restoration works.
Okay.
So they
Okay.
did it when they were restoring.
Rude. See, and then there we go with that manipulation, making you think. See, you got to just do our research. But I will
What do you think
say,
AI is going to do with it? Oh my
right?
goodness!
Yeah. Well, hey, that's what it says in the Bible that people won't even be able to decipher from real or false. So that's what I think AI is. But we can't go down that rabbit hole. I could go for hours. But Silas, I have looked up the apocryphic whatever text, and I actually got one of the books that have those other books in it, like the additive of the books that were taken out that I'm currently going down. I've read Enoch. I've read, what's that other one that I'm like currently done a lot of research on, but I feel like some of those books that they took out deliberately for a reason to confuse us about so many other things in the Bible because they really explain so many questions, honestly. So I really feel like especially Enoch was taken out deliberately because so many answers are in Enoch. But yeah, I definitely know. But hey, come on up, peoples. We can come on up and talk. But yeah, I know. I also feel like with the internet and everything like that, so like I said, I've been going down the conspiracy rabbit hole since 2012. And I'm gonna say the majority of stuff that I could find in 2012 to 2015 is like completely wiped off the internet now. So that's another thing is I have noticed throughout the years that they have been wiping a lot of stuff off the internet for sure, or like coming up with different like theories that I've never heard of before when I would research this stuff like years ago. There was a guy, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this guy, but he is one that really, like, I found him in 2012. His name was Call for an Uprising. His name now is Nations Conspire on YouTube, but this guy has helped me break the mind control and see the mind control that they use on us. And it's actually like pretty amazing the things that he would uncover. And his channel, when I first found him, had over 500,000 people, and he has had to make over like 45 channels since I have been watching him for the last, since 2012. So there's got to be some kind of truth if this guy is getting, his channels taken down constantly. We know that they censor hard. So I mean, that's how I feel. So if you guys like are interested in breaking any of that mind control, really, really, I he can like take every topic. He puts videos out every single day for the most part, and he breaks down all these world topics, people who are famous, etc., and how they use the same symbolism, etc. A lot of it ties to like Freemasonry and all that kind of stuff. So I really, really highly suggest, regardless of what table you're on, to check out. His name is Nation Conspire now. Hey Daniel, you in here? Good to see you, FYR. Um, but yeah, so that's kind of like where I'm at too, is I don't believe a word that any of them say, to be honest. I take everything with a grain of salt. Who's not free? I don't know what. Johnny, you want to come up and talk? You can totally come up and talk, have a conversation. Do you have anything else, Gary?
No, I'll bounce off here. I do appreciate the conversation.
Yeah, it was so good having you up again. It was good seeing you. You have a
Yeah,
wonderful
thanks
day.
so
And
much.
definitely pop in to Daniel's. If you follow him and get a subscription, I believe that opens up for the Discord, and we have great talks over there. Hey,
That's cool.
Daniel. Good to see you. But yeah, you should definitely pop over there because we'd love to have you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, have a great day.
You too.
Oh, it's been such a good conversation, and my little dude's letting me sleep. Thank you, everybody, so much for all the likes, the love, the gifts. I appreciate you all so much. I just want to like really shout out our Discord again because what y'all have done over there is so awesome. I've been loving the voice chat like feature on there where we can all like hang out and talk. That's so fun. I'm just like really love getting to know all of you and becoming friends. And, even though we don't have the same views, I really truly feel like you've opened up the community and have, welcomed in all my crazy ideas. Right? Everybody's happy to see you, Daniel. I hope you got some good sleep and been able to rest because I know that has been a lot. Are you going live tomorrow? Do you plan on it? Oh, you're coming up. Okay, let me up. Hey, how are
How you going?
you?
Oh, I'm
Oh,
so well. Thanks so
yes.
much for letting me up. Yeah, it's lovely to be here.
Yeah,
It's such a nice space to come into. Um, hello, chat. My God, there's just
right.
so many lovely people in here right now. I never, I never have the time that I wish I had to just kind of respond to everything in emails and DMs and Discord and everything. So, given that there are so many people in here right now who are part of that space, I just would love to take
Hmm.
a moment to just thank everyone so much for all the time and energy and effort that's been poured into setting up that Discord space. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. I feel I just I feel so humbled. I can't tell you guys how grateful I am for the effort that's been put into creating like an extension of the space that I'm trying to create here on TikTok. It just really means so much to me. So thank you so much. Truly, truly. Um, and it's great to have you in there too, Kara. Honestly, I love that. I can only say, given what I've seen so far, which just seems to only be like the tip of the iceberg. It seems like you guys are in there all the time, chatting it up. It's a lot. Um,
Yeah, it's
from what I've been
definitely
able to
taken all of my attention away from TikTok, not gonna lie. That's where I go now, not TikTok, Discord.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
But
no, it's good.
I
It's good times.
from what I can see, it really is like so healthy in there, and
Yes.
no matter where anyone is coming from, everyone is sincere and curious and critical in a
Right.
healthy way, in a respectful way, and
Hmm.
I just can't encourage any style of conversation more. You know, it really is. It's awesome. You guys are a bunch of legends. You know, shouts out to you also to, from what I've been told, I really need to thank Vet Tech Brit for setting up a
Hmm.
lot of the infrastructure, and thank you so much to Seven Lemons and Albino Huggy too for just connecting a lot of people and inviting so many people in, and for kind of uh, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of screening, you know, screening new invites in such a an effective way, you know, because
Yes.
the last thing that I would want would be for toxic elements to enter that nice little system there, you know. I would hate for it to shift in an unhealthy direction. So thank you so much for the time you guys put into kind of keeping it healthy and friendly. And yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, they did an amazing job. I didn't even know what Discord really was, and the way that they've got it set up is just so cool. I love all like the little tabs where we can have different conversations and stuff is so neat. I think that is so cool.
Oh, I don't. I could be wrong. Maybe it takes like 30 seconds to set it up. I don't know, but I imagine
Maybe.
I imagine it doesn't. I imagine it's taken quite a while to set up all these different little subspaces and set up all the little favorite emojis and I don't know, link
Yes.
everyone up and everything. I can only imagine it's taken a lot of time. So kudos to every one of you. Crazy, crazy stuff.
Yes, yes. They're amazing for sure. I definitely love the community, and what you build, Daniel, is like no other. And like I've told you, like you really inspired me to get up here and have these same honest, open, genuine conversations that, not just on TikTok, but in my personal life, I feel like is really lacking. And I really appreciate all of the genuine conversations that you have and that we can all have as the community is really amazing.
Oh yeah, I'm stoked.
Mm.
I'm pretty amped for what it might become. You know, I don't want to bang on either. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Have you got other guests lined up or?
I don't know, but you're good. If
Okay,
you got to go to bed, you're fine. I probably got about a half an hour until I got to go. My little dude's got to get up at 10:30. So I
I
got a
feel you.
little bit more time, but if you got to hop off, I totally understand. We can totally talk about whatever though, if you're
I
down.
feel you. No, no, that's cool. I got to go to bed soon too. That
Yes,
is
yes.
accurate. But there's someone there is someone in the chat. Is it Are You For Real Kitty Cat too? Is asking. The only question I've got for Daniel is why are you mad at God? Do you mind if I respond to chat, Carl?
Yeah,
Or
go right ahead. Yeah, yeah,
okay,
definitely.
cool. Well, like the most sincere answer I can give to you, Kitty Cat, is that I I don't think I am mad at God. I don't think that God is real. In the same way that I can't really be mad at Santa for not bringing me gifts every year because I don't think that Santa actually exists. Right? I can't really be mad at Voldemort for, you know, for stalking and abusing Harry Potter for his whole life because I don't think that Voldemort is real, right? I'm not claiming to know that God doesn't exist, but I'm in no way convinced that they do, and I don't know that it makes sense to accuse me of being mad at something that I don't think is actually real. I do think though that it does make sense for someone to be able to criticize, you know, a figure of myth or a figure of literature, right? I believe that Yahweh is actually a figure of myth. And in the same way that I could critique Santa, like I don't think that it's right that Santa brings all the poor kids hardly anything, if anything, and all the rich kids get way more toys. I don't think that it's fair of Santa to do that. I don't think that it's fair of Voldemort to target this one child that he took issue with from their infancy. In the same way, I can say I don't think that it's right that Yahweh punishes us collectively for the things that the first two humans did. And they're not even things that the first two humans could help doing, because he set that event up ahead of time anyway. That's just one example of something I don't think that is good of Yahweh to have done. But I don't actually think that they're real. So to be really clear, I don't think I am mad at God. I'm just critical of the character.
I do, if you have time, I got a question just to see
Oh,
your
of course.
perspective. Okay, so I do want to ask you, especially like when you first deconstructed, and I've heard you say this, but like, do you feel like that anger was there at the beginning and you had to work through that? And if so, how did you work through that?
Oh, absolutely, yes, yeah. I think that my anger towards God was definitely real, and it was directed at a figure that I, at the time, really did think was real. I used to believe that Yahweh existed, and for a time there, I was really angry at them for the way that they, according to the Bible at least, the way that they used to wield their omnipotence. You know,
Mhm.
the the kind of justice that they used to serve up. And also just looking around me, present day, the way that they seemed to be so uninvolved
Mhm.
in so many matters that would take absolutely nothing away from him. It would take him essentially zero effort to completely solve so many absolutely horrendous problems that we just see no real end to. And yeah, when I still believed that Yahweh was real, I really did feel really angry at him for that. Although I never would have admitted that to myself, because I was too afraid to let myself think that too loudly, because I also was under the impression that Yahweh could read my thoughts and I didn't want to think the wrong things.
Mm.
Yeah, I probably actually, yeah, used to be angry at a God I used to think was real, but not in my childhood. In my childhood, it was very
Mhm.
much like a reverence and a respect and a deference to God, that kind of thing. But yeah, there was a stage in my deconstruction where, yeah, for sure, I was mad at a God that I still thought existed. Yes.
Thanks for sharing that. I was interested because I definitely feel like that's part of the grieving process. So I figured that people probably went through that like anger, stage as well.
Oh, absolutely. It's actually so valid you bring up the stages of grieving, right?
Hmm.
I didn't want Christianity to not be true, right? Like
Hmm.
having to first even consider the notion of it not being true was really uncomfortable, let alone actually starting to realize that it was probably not true. Leaving something like that behind meant acknowledging that my parents were either lying to me about stuff or actively deceived themselves. It meant admitting to myself that half the population is essentially indoctrinated into a system of belief for which there is not a good body of evidence to support the truth of. It meant leaving behind a community that I felt like I identified with, that I didn't want to necessarily not identify with. It meant considering losing, the afterlife. I'd no longer. If heaven were real, I'd definitely not ever get back in again if I, went so far as to leave Christianity, etc., etc., etc. There are all kinds of things that, there are all kinds of reasons that I had for not wanting Christianity to not be true, but it simply got to a point that I couldn't honestly tell myself that I believed it was true. In the same way that we can probably all identify with, a moment of self-reflection and honesty with ourselves when we realize that, maybe, one of our friends is actually not really that good of a friend. That it hits hard. We
Mm,
feel it in our guts, when we realize that, oh, maybe I can't trust this family member so much, after all. Like, maybe I can't really trust the news. Maybe Santa's not
right.
real. Maybe Santa's not real. There are all these moments that we experience where it hits us in the guts, and we're like, I don't really want this to be true, but I can't lie to myself
Mm.
anymore and tell myself that I honestly think it is.
Yeah, I can see that, and I definitely see where, like, in my life, people who have deceived me and done me wrong, that is like one of the hardest things to, come to terms with, is being lied to almost by somebody that you essentially love. And I can see where that view of God, when you start not to believe, could be like you're almost deceived by that there really wasn't a love or anything that you thought was there, and that you felt deceived. So I can concur on that, is one of the worst feelings for sure.
Right, right. I think a lot of people can identify with that,
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
religious or non. I don't think anyone likes
Right.
realizing that they've been had,
Mm-mm.
right?
No, right. Yeah, most definitely. Makes everything seem kind of fake that you thought you did have. That's for sure.
Exactly, exactly. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
tricky. That's a
Mhm.
tricky position to navigate. Yo,
Yeah,
I got to
definitely.
quickly shout out Seven. I see
Yes.
Seven jumped up too. Thank you so much for any hand that you've had in setting up the Discord, brother. I really appreciate you, mate.
Kara, this guy's a troll. He is a known rage baiter. You need to
Oh
kick him
man.
and block him immediately.
Oh
I'm
my
not having any of
God.
that. Don't you talk to me like that, young man.
Oh no. Oh no. Here come the atheist.
I am sleeping with people trying to get me booted off panels just for expressing myself. What's happened to freedom of
Yeah,
speech, lad?
it's a nice attempt at the Irish accent, but it needs a little bit of work.
I'll take that. That's
Um,
fair enough.
I just want to say, I'm so pleased with what's happening in the Discord. That we've had real kind of buy-in from both sides, and some of the people, I'm not going to point them out, but some of the people here are in chat. We've been having actual conversations. Would you believe we've been having actual conversations about
Hmm.
stuff? No, we haven't changed the world yet, but you never know.
Right. We're on the way
We
to it,
might,
Jen.
It starts with
but
a Discord
there's
server, right? It has to start in someone. It
exactly,
has to start in someone's Discord server.
exactly. So, I mean, essentially, what we're promoting is more than even discussion or debate or anything like that. Like, agreement doesn't necessarily have to be the priority, but something that I'm really keen to encourage more and reward more is people actually trying really hard to understand other people's perspectives rather than getting their perspectives across, because I
Yes.
think that's something that is being modeled less and less. As we were kind of talking about this a little bit, so I'm repeating myself. I'm sorry about that, Cara. But
No, you're fine.
as the let's say the algorithms are kind of rewarding this antagonistic
Oh yes.
environment, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. But there's no modeling of actual conversation going on. There's no modeling of actually being fascinated, just being almost determined to figure out how it is that somebody else's opinions are formed, and
Yes.
that's something that fascinates me. And I'm kind of hoping that we can say in these spaces, in Daniel's spaces, in Kara's spaces, in the Discord, that we've got the rest of the internet for all of that stuff. let's just change the formula a little bit here. And even with people who are, we've got 67 people in here now, maybe people are just kind of floating in and out, and they hear a little bit of these messages and so on. And maybe they'll take a beat to reconsider how they treat their next interaction with somebody that they disagree with.
Yeah.
And, that I think that that in itself, even if it doesn't create more agreement necessarily, I think that in itself can have its own benefits.
I completely agree, and it really does hit different. Like when you're listening into a space where both sides of the conversation are genuinely invested in actually trying to get to the bottom of things, it really does hit different, right? Like when you're listening to someone like Alex O'Connor talk to anyone, honestly, it just hits different to the way it hits when you're listening to like I don't know, like Parker or Dean or someone on here. You know what I mean? And I fully appreciate what they're going for and what their vibe is, but it just hits different to me. I could watch someone like Sam Harris or someone like Alex O'Connor or someone like a small but growing number of atheists on YouTube and TikTok, so much longer than I find myself being able to watch the firebrands. Personally, that's me personally. I get it, but yeah, I feel like whether you're religious or not, we're all concerned with being moral. Like we all want to feel like we're good people. I don't think that Christians are bad people. I really don't. I think that Christians see the world through a particular lens, and that affects what they perceive right and wrong to be. In the same way that I don't think Muslims are bad people. I think that they perceive the world through a particular lens, and that influences the way that they feel about right and wrong. I can say the same thing for absolutely any group of people, any religious community, I think most people, the vast majority of people, unless you're, a psychopath by birth, to be honest,
Right.
I think that most people are concerned with being moral, and
Mhm.
I can't find it in myself to honestly believe that that we're all that different deep down. We're concerned with being good people. We're concerned. The majority of us, I think, are concerned with believing things that are true over things that are false. But obviously, we arrive at different standards by way of our education or our personal experiences, or whatever it is. It's just, I think people want to believe things that are true rather than false. And it's hard to do that. It's a difficult process to learn how to filter out all of the nonsense, right?
Yeah.
And it's difficult to really kind of develop any sense of anything near certainty about what's right and wrong. This is a difficult thing being a human is not easy.
The truth, right?
It's not
Right? Yes. And it's all our first time here. Like, honestly, we're all here the first time together doing this thing, trying our hardest, right? For the
yes,
majority.
For
absolutely.
sure.
I
And
feel
I, I,
you've been super
I
super generous. I got to jump down.
Mhm.
I get to bed, but honestly, thank you
Thanks for
so much for
coming
having me.
up.
Shouts out to every one of you. I mean, it's just so cool to have so many people in the space. Like, just have a
Yeah.
great one, right? Have a great one,
You
everyone. Please.
too. We love you, Daniel. Have a good night. Sleep well.
see you, Daniel. That's
Hey,
amazing that he was
friend.
able to come up and join us. I'm sorry, I know that I'm jumping up again, but I just kind
No,
of
you're
couldn't resist it.
welcome.
He was
You are totally welcome.
um, So I appreciate that. But if you do have other guests waiting, I will jump down.
I don't. It is only you. I have about 15-ish minutes that I'm going to stay on. I don't want my little one to sleep too long.
Hmm.
But yes, thank you so much, Daniel, for coming up and ultimately, having that space for all of us to have met and, form this awesome community that we have. We do owe a lot of it to you, Daniel. And of course, we couldn't do it without all of us contributing and having those conversations, and becoming friends. Like, I really truly feel like you said, like, learning about people on a different level and understanding where we're all coming from. I just think it's like a really beautiful thing that we have going on in there, to be honest.
For sure, for sure. And do you know what? I don't want to necessarily, and I know I brought this up earlier on. There's plenty that we would, I think, disagree about,
Hmm.
and I think that's important, right? I think that's important to acknowledge that. I think that I was going to say with Daniel there, there sometimes I feel angry when I hear people talking about things and that I don't believe in, and saying that they are true and things like that. And it does, it kind of makes me angry. So I would love it if the spaces that we're creating, we're able to leave those kind of feelings at the door. And I think we even said it in the Discord. You can pick up that anger on the way back out if you want.
Right? Yeah.
But
Leave it
this
when you
is,
come in.
yeah, yeah, and not to ignore that the problems are there, because there are
Right.
plenty of things I'm sure that, say, Christians would feel about atheists that they would have huge amounts of issues with, and I understand that and I respect that, and it works the other way around as well. And those are things that they're not just opinions; they're things which genuinely, deeply, and profoundly affect people's lives. I'm lucky to have not suffered so much around these things, but I have very, very good friends who have,
Hmm.
and that's the same on both sides of this conversation, and that cannot be ignored. So I don't want it to feel like, for people who have suffered, that we're just kind of papering over everything. Those discussions still need to be had, but we need a framework for those discussions to be effective, is what I'm saying.
Right. I agree. And I think that a lot of those issues that like bigger groups of people, which goes along all types of different things, we've like acquired that from our ancestors too. This is like generational, views or things like that people hold so tight to because it's like generational, that I feel like, a lot of our generation is really trying to break those, from what I've seen, those negative kind of ways that we were raised and try to do it a different way that, is more beneficial and not so much fear tactic, instead of like, let's figure this out together and let's, try to work together, which I feel like in our generation, we have a lot more of that than we have in the past, from what I've experienced. But of course, I didn't live back then either. So I don't know. But yeah. Hi, new guest too. Hi, AAR. Good to see you here. Um, if you want to pop up, are you Christian or atheist or beliefs? If you want to share them, go right ahead.
I'm a Christian. Sorry. Um, I'm a Christian.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Do you
What?
have any? Go right
Sorry, go
ahead.
ahead. No, go ahead.
No, no, go ahead. I was just going to ask you.
I was like, oh, what are you guys talking about? But
We don't really have like a topic right this second. We're just kind of chatting about the world. And then also, I'm a Christian. I've been Christian for about 18 years. I am in a community, definitely like, I would say predominantly more agnostic atheist that I found online through Daniel. But what we've been building is kind of what we've been talking about, is just like a community where even if we have different views or beliefs, that we can all come together and have those hard conversations or conversations about difficult things in a respectful manner, no matter what our views. And we've been really trying to build this community. And, so that's kind of what we're talking about right now. but you're free to bring up a topic if you'd like.
Oh, okay. No, no, nothing against that.
Yeah.
We're
As
talking
long as
about
people are
talking.
respectful.
Right, we're talking about talking respectful. Right, that's exactly right. I only got a few more minutes that I can be on here, so I think we kind of like, but yeah, definitely. If you're interested in joining that community, you can follow Daniel. I don't know if he's still on here, but he's under Daniel Green. If you're interested in those respectful kind of, non-believers and believers, that is a great space. And of course, you're welcome here. But that's kind of like what we're really trying to grow is having a space where we can all share our views and learn off of each other, because in my opinion we have all been lied to in one way or another. I really just want to shout out real quick to all of my friends who've been gifting and tapping. I truly appreciate it. I cannot believe that we're almost to 40,000 likes. That's insane. My daughter went to work, but when she sees that, she's going to be like, oh. Um,
Well,
but yeah.
I'm already part of a community, but
Oh,
yeah, thanks
nice.
for the invite.
I
Uh,
haven't seen you there, so I'll keep an eye out.
oh yeah, yeah. No, I'm not part of that community. I'm part of a
Oh,
different
got
community.
you, got you, got
It's
you.
a community of Christians that they go live almost every day and talk about
Nice.
Christianity, and we'll have like a whole bunch of different characters up, and we'll talk about the topic, and it's just yeah, whatever topic that's up.
Awesome. I followed you, so definitely like to pop in on those too. That's awesome.
Yeah, give me a
I have a
follow.
question, if that's okay.
Yeah, go right ahead, Seven.
AA, I was just wondering if you had kind of any experiences that you could share just around, speaking to having conversations or arguments with people who don't share the same beliefs as you.
Uh,
Yes.
yeah. Not that long ago, I was talking to a group of Muslims.
Mm.
We had a disagreement because um, I don't see, because they believe that Jesus was a prophet, but the Bible clearly says that he was God, right? So like, um, they disagreed with that, and I gave them a scripture where he literally says he was God, but they try to twist it and change the way it was saying, which it was not true.
Mm.
But
And how would you say, like, how productive would you say that conversation was? Do you know what I mean when I'm asking that?
oh yeah, like I think it wasn't as productive as I would like it to be, but as I said, like to agree to disagree, then and I just went on my way, kind of thing. So they
And
kicked me because they kicked me because they didn't like what I was saying, but agree to disagree.
okay.
Mm.
And what would have made you feel like it was more productive?
Well, if they let me finish my point, they
Mm.
always they like to interrupt when you try to make a point, and you know it when they start interrupting, you know that you're getting to them because you're making a good point, and they didn't. They keep interrupting me. They won't let me get my thought out, which I don't like. But
I can attest that is a lot. There are a lot on both sides where
oh
that's where
yeah,
the conversation is
well,
not.
Christians are the
I
exact
know.
same.
I know they are. I'm like, this is
That's why we gotta try to be different, right? We got
yes, exactly.
one Christian that lets them finish, right?
Right.
I mean,
Yes, exactly.
there's a difference if they're just talking nonsense. Don't let them talk their nonsense because it's just nonsense. But if
Right. If
they're
it's
actually
rude and all
having,
that. Yeah.
if they have a point and they're actually making sense, let them finish their thought. Then then you do the same thing. But if they disrespect you, then you kick them because like that's
Right.
they're not giving you the same respect.
Agreed. I also think people find power in the drop button for whatever reason.
I'm a
Like
I'm a
I
I'm
have
a
power.
mod for one of my people that go live, and yeah, I use that thing like nobody's business because a lot of them just come in talking nonsense. I'm like, yeah,
Really?
no.
I am definitely grateful that here in our space that we've created, I haven't had the pleasure of anybody coming up and cussing me out or being rude to me quite yet. So we'll see if
Oh,
that happens.
when you see me live, come join in. You'll see a
I
whole
will.
different side of TikTok.
I'm sure. I've been on Thinkers Live. I'm not sure if you are familiar with
I
Thinker,
think
but
I think I've seen
yes.
him. Yeah.
Yes, I was on one of her live. That was actually, I was on Daniel's first, and then I went on Thinkers. So, yeah, definitely two very different, techniques. But I will never say anything bad about Thinker as far as like her lives. I learned more about the Bible than I do at church in Thinkers Live. So I'm just going to be real honest on that one.
Oh, hey, Court.
Cara,
Court.
can I make a confession?
You can.
I am 100% atheist, and I do not have the courage to go on Thinkers Live.
Really? I know she's intimidating. I love her though. Like I could see that me and Thinker, if I like met her in real life, we would be friends. She just seems like all of my friends I've ever had. She's very direct, which is fine. I love that about her. Um, but yeah, I it was intense, like they make awesome, great points. They know their Bible for sure, and but I definitely was called out, like not called out, but like they were like, no Christians were coming up, and there was like 1,000 people in the room, and I'm like, hey, might as well, and I just went on up there. I like fear nothing. So that's part of my problem and my journey is I don't fear a lot of things except for bees. Is like I'm terrified of bees. I will fight bees all day long. I fight bees like in the summer. I'm just like punching bees all over the place. But honestly, that that is one of my things that I prayed that my children would not get from me is like, please fear something because I don't. And like that is a problem. That's why I got into all the things I did when I was younger. But I've learned to like, think logically now instead of
Wow,
just going at
that's
it. Yes, yeah. So, but
as long as you learn
um,
from your mistakes.
right, exactly. I learned how to punch peas better. I mean, I got precise aim trying to punch those little things in the face. Oh my gosh, you had a bee sting the back of your head? That's horrible. Thanks, Daniel.
I,
Yeah,
I
I've never been stung, and I swear that's because I run or I fight them.
I
Period.
I actually got stung when I was asleep.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
That's rude.
multiple
Super
times.
rude.
Yeah,
Oh, that's horrible.
yeah. I guess a bee was in the house and he landed on me when I was asleep. I rolled over and he started
Rolled
stinging.
over.
He
Oh
started
my
stinging.
gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's like the worst luck ever.
Oh well,
That would be
yeah,
like that would be a nightmare for me. That would literally be a nightmare.
yeah.
At least you weren't allergic. Seriously. That would have
Oh
been
yeah. Be even
that would not
worse.
have been good. For sure. I really, really appreciate all of you. I so wish I could stay longer. I really want to thank everybody for all those 40,000 likes. Amazing. Everybody that has come up and talked and shared this awesome conversation, and all my friends that support me. I just got to say thank you again, honestly. Like, I really,
Can I
truly
drop one
appreciate
last
y'all.
thing in,
Yeah, of
Cara,
course.
before you
Yes,
drop?
yes, yes.
It's very short. It's just
Go right
something that
ahead.
I heard somewhere along the way, and it's just kind of come to me now as we were
Mhm.
speaking. This is for kind of everybody listening. Is somebody said to me one time, if you can't have a laugh with somebody, maybe you should think twice about having an argument with them. And I think it's
Mm.
kind of something which is kind of appropriate for what we're talking about. I don't think it's always the case. I don't think it's right 100% of the time,
Hmm.
because there's a lot of things that go on in the world that do need to be challenged. But I think the
True.
think twice part is important. If you have the choice and you're not able to have a laugh with somebody first, what is the benefit? What is the actual benefit of having an argument with them? So
Right.
yeah, that's just something to think about.
I like
And good to meet
that.
you, AA.
Yes, no
Yes.
problem. Appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. Thank y'all. I'm going to drop everybody because my friend said that's good for the algorithm. Bye, Seven. We definitely Discord people. If we are open for, I can definitely get on phone call later when everybody's, because I missed the one yesterday and I was so sad that I couldn't get in there with everybody because I wasn't feeling good. But I'm feeling a little better. And even when my kid's up, I can hop in there. So we should definitely plan a Discord chat later today. I love everybody. Thank you, everybody, for coming up. All my guests, all the likes, all the shares, all the gifts. I don't have words. I really appreciate you all and love you all. And I'll see you guys all in the Discord for sure, because that's like where I'm hanging out now. So, you know. I love y'all. You have a wonderful day. Good to see everybody. I'll see y'all over in the Discord. And I'll definitely come up on Saturdays from now on. I plan 8:30 every Saturday. If I can jump on a little early, I might just to get some more time. So love all the conversations and have a wonderful day. Bye.